Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 6th annual conference of the Asia Pacific Public Electronic Procurement Network. My name is Roger Osorio, and I will be your Master of Ceremonies. I'm an executive coach and an Ivy League University professor based in New York City. It is my pleasure to be here with all of you, virtually, of course, and all of you tuning in from over 20 time zones around the world. So today we have 3 insightful sessions for all of you. For those of us who are joining us for the first time, we would like to share just a few little suggestions or guidelines to help ensure that you get maximum value in return for your time invested here. So first, this is a 3-day event, and this is the second of a 3-day event. And each day we're hosting 3 sessions. So today you will have the opportunity to listen in on all 3. All of them will be listed on the agenda in Manila local time, so do make note of the time zone difference depending on where you might be joining us from around the world. We also ask that you please change your Zoom name to your first and last name, followed by your company or affiliation. This is so that our speakers and moderators know how to address you when you submit a question or comment. They'll be able to see who that is and where you're from and what organization you represent. Also, during our presentations, we will be putting everyone's audio on mute in order to avoid distraction and audio feedback. However, you will be able to interact with the speakers and moderators by clicking on the Q&A button that can be found just about the bottom of the screen there in your Zoom application. And you will be able to submit your questions through that feature. And we will be looking at that feature and that section for questions during the conversation. We're going to do our best to answer all of the questions if possible, so do stay tuned, put your questions in there. Just to clarify, one point of distinction, there is also a chat where I see a lot of people saying good morning and welcome, and I see people tuning in from all over the world, and it's great to see all the countries represented here. So thank you so much for connecting in the chat. Use the chat more for that conversation. If you want to share some ideas or insights, please use the chat for that, and then save your questions for the Q&A feature. This will help us make sure that we're addressing all of your key questions as the session goes on. And finally, we're going to be having polls throughout the sessions. They might happen during a session or just after a session. So we ask for your full participation and that you respond to the polls so that our moderators and speakers can do their best to tailor their content and presentations to your needs as much as possible. All right, so with this guidance in mind, we are confident that you're going to enjoy a seamless, interactive, and insightful conference. So do plan to stay tuned into this Zoom channel throughout the day, because this is where all of the sessions will be fed. So no matter what time of day, you'll be able to see a session. And during the breaks, you'll notice that there's going to be a timer or some videos from some of our special partners. And that just simply means that we are in a break session and you'll be able to know how much time is left. Okay, so without further ado, our first session today. In this session, we are going to be discussing the impact of artificial intelligence on e-procurement. So this is a very cutting-edge topic we're going to be talking about this morning. And in this session, you're going to hear a couple of case studies followed by a facilitated conversation, which is going to be led by our special guest moderator, Joe Fagan. So Mr. Fagan is an international consultant specializing in the development and implementation of EGP systems. He has been providing advisory services through the ADB and World Bank to governments and donor organizations in Canada, Asia, and South America to assist them with their efforts in the development and implementation of e-procurement systems. Mr. Fagan was one of the contributing authors of the ADB EGP Handbook and the World Bank Global Public Procurement Stock-Taking Initiative. Mr. Fagan's extensive knowledge of the information industry and experience in development and implementation of text retrieval services and electronic procurement services provides an invaluable depth of business and technical knowledge for development and implementation of new electronic commerce services. Joe is going to be joined by Usha Saxena, Senior Technical Director and Head of the Department in the e-Procurement Division of the National Informatics Center in India. Since 1991, Usha has been involved in the development and implementation of various e-governance systems across the country. Usha played an instrumental role in the design, development, and widespread adoption of the NIC EGP system, the government e-procurement system across India. Usha currently leads the e-procurement implementation division at the National Informatics Center and is responsible for the implementation of JEPNIC across 30 state provinces and that of Central Public Procurement Portal in around 580 central government entities. Joe will also be joined by Srinivasa Raghavan, Deputy Director General and Scientist at the National Informatics Center in India, the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, and the Government of India, where he has served since 1988. Currently, he's leading the State Center at Chennai, Tamil Nadu, as the State Informatics Officer. His focus there is on the IT requirements across the government of Tamil Nadu. One of his most significant contributions was the design, development, and countrywide implementation of the electronic procurement platform for the Government of India. This was a massive e-governance initiative of the Government of India and has been implemented as a central public procurement portal. Over 75% of the country's electronic procurement is passed through this platform. And last but not least, we will also be joined by David Zhao, PhD. David is a senior portfolio management specialist in the Portfolio Management Division under the Procurement, Portfolio, and Financial Management Department in the Asian Development Bank. David has worked for more than 20 years on development, system architecture, and data services, streamlining real-time reporting, which is key to portfolio management. Recently, he has led the development of the COVID-19 dashboard and the ADB management dashboard. His leadership resulted in the ADB becoming the #1 ranked in the Aid Transparency Index for the first time. Prior to the ADB, he published 33 research papers on environment and climate change. During the same period, he was involved in 24 research projects in the People's Republic of China. As with all of our sessions, if you have any questions or comments for the presenters, again, please use the Q&A feature that can be found below. This way they can see your questions, and please submit your ideas or comments there, and we will do our best to address as many of these as possible. Well, so without further ado, Joe Fagan will lead this cutting edge session. I hand it off to you now, Joe.
Good morning, everybody. Afternoon and evening, depending on which location of the world you happen to be in. I'm in Ottawa, a beautiful -2 outside and quite dark. As Roger mentioned, we're here to have a session on the use of artificial intelligence in the EGP systems. AI has been gaining a lot of interest and support to analyze the data by AGP systems. Like with innovation and advances on the use of technology is just a never-ending cycle, and there's always going to be new ways to look at data, and it's always going to continue to evolve. And we've been experiencing this with the systems over the decades, with the new advances in how we're going to collect information from creating the bidding documents to submitting bids to managing the procurement process, security, and so forth. And the reporting and visualization of information collected aspect of that. And AI is going to be to help analyze the large volume that's being collected throughout our systems. And so today, we're going to be getting an update on what India is doing, and NIC in particular, with the use of AI in the JIPNIC system that they have supporting us in India. And so we have Usha, who's going to be giving us an update on the implementation and how that's going with the JIPNIC system itself. And Srinivasa will give us an update on the ways that they're looking at applying AI in collecting from their systems. And after that, we'll have a presentation from David of the ADB, where they're starting to apply AI to help us search within the ADB portal itself. So without any further ado, let's pass it off to Usha to get an update of the NIC JIPNIC system.
Hello everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I am Usha Saxena from NIC, New Delhi. I think you need to enable my sharing. I would be speaking about the NIC e-procurement system, the milestones achieved, the progress made so far, And subsequently, the work done on artificial intelligence, the POCs done, and how it would be taken forward and implemented in the EGP of India. Most one of the EGP systems used in India would be shared. Yeah, I take over you to my presentation slides. I hope it's visible now.
Not yet.
This,
Not yet, Dusha.
this discussion is divided into two parts, as we said earlier. One would be the background, the milestones, the features, functionality of the EGP system, and then followed by the AI instance. We are from National Informatics Center, an arm of Government of India. NIC basically is an IT arm and works in every level of the Government of India, whether it is in the provinces or it is in the center or in the local governments, everywhere. We provide all kinds of digital support to the government. Amongst that, one of the initiative is this product. This is a flagship product, and then I work of software development and as a platform to enable the EGP system for India. There are many other such platforms which NIC has developed into various sectors like office automation, e-office, hospital in the health sector, port automation, and so on. But our focus is on the e-procurement EGP system of NIC. This platform was developed for those who have joined recently. Many of you would be knowing because it's a decade-old, very robust platform. But since there are many participants across the globe, I would just take you through the little background. It was developed in total consultation with the policy makers. We have a procurement policy division at Ministry of Finance in New Delhi. We also have various state governments who have their own procurement policy. Taking all into consideration, the EGP has been developed. Since 2007, it is operational and ever growing. You can see the milestones in terms of achievements, quantum of tenders, value, and the bidder and the department who are already using it at the bottom. It's a single product and it caters to a various heterogeneous requirements across the country at all levels of the governance. It meets the NDB guidelines and it's also certified security, functional, and infrastructure aspect by a body of Government India, which we call it as an STQC. This is a quick roadmap, our journey over the last decade. In this journey, we have been continuously adding more and more features. So the product is become a very versatile one, wherein you can configure if there are 40 features. If you want only 20 of them, it can be configured accordingly at the time of deployment. Similarly, we have a configuration for the ADB and World Bank tenders because they follow a separate kind of have a separate kind of requirement in terms of various aspects. So whenever an ADB project procurement is to happen for an ADB or a World Bank funded project, accordingly the configuration is done. At present, across India, it's being used by various, federal states and local bodies, etc., which I will come in a subsequent slide. This is the growth chart, which gives you an idea of the last 5 years, how it has been growing in terms of volume as well as in terms of number of participation. So across the line, we can say that we have around 4,000 tenders per day. If I can break it down into number of tenders done per day, it would come around that. This is the geographical distribution. Though the platform is adopted pan-India, but there is a higher concentration on 78% of the country where the provinces, which we call it as state governments, have adopted totally the EGP JEPNIC of NIC. The robustness can be established by few milestone achievements, which I have put in the slide. That is more than 1,000 bids receiving for a single tender, around 2,700 tenders closing at a single point of time, and more than 6,000 items which has been processed. These are all real-time data, has been processed using in a single tender by an organization. The main objectives, it's all very evident and obvious that a system to stand for such a long time It needs to adhere to transparency, security. We use the PK technology. Everyone uses a digital signature certificate, the two-factor authentication for login. The documents and all submitted are accountable under the Court of Law. India has a strong IT Act, which backed by the IT Act. Digital signing is authentic and all. It complies to all the guidelines, internal guidelines. We call it as a general financial rule, which gets revised from time to time. We have a vigilance commission also, which has certain policies, rules for procurement. So all these are adhered. In the recent uh, progress, what we have made, we have been concentrating on the e-auction and the reverse auction part of the EGP system. We have auctions of three different categories. One is for commodity auction, which, as the name itself suggests, takes out for various commodities of anything which is sold or purchased by the government. Then there is a specialized auction which has been recently brought in, which caters to the limited auction. Like if you have limited tenders, empaneled or pre-qualified bidders or contractors can participate under certain conditions. So automatically, amongst the pre-qualified, few would be eligible, few won't be based on the condition which they are meeting. Open auction is wherein general public participate. We have seen that a lot of requirements come in for sale of mementos, artifacts, museums and all, especially in this pandemic time, a lot of requests are coming in. So general public can participate. We recently concluded a very prestigious auction of the gifts given to our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi. Around 4,500 items were sold using this platform. And with a lot of enthusiasm, citizens across country participated in that. It went flawless without any issue, and we were very much appreciated by the PMO and the Line Ministry, Ministry of Culture. Coming to the concessions and the PPP projects, there are a lot of PPP projects which have taken place, happened through the EGP. The major departments are the public work departments located in the provinces, the National Highway Authority, and various central public sector units. They are either in this model of build, operate, transfer, or in the annuity model, or design, build, operate, or then design, build, then collect the toll, and after the toll collection is there, then transfer to the department. All these models are available, and there can be a hybrid model. We have seen organizations picking up a hybrid of two models also. Few examples of the projects which have been completed through that is cited in the slide. It's like construction of roads, highways, passenger train operation, multi-level parking, solid waste management, etc. These are the projects which have actually been executed under the PPP model. We have a session, I think, on PPP. Mr. Ram would be covering it, so I think I would leave it to that. Few process improvements which we have done, re-engineering. I would just highlight a few. One, we have an automatic technical evaluation. Many people have the question, do you have an technical evaluation is to be done manually or automatic? But if your RFP or tender can be configured in such a way, it is possible. There are organizations which are doing that. India is giving a lot of thrust on, make in India, preferential bidders, that is local MSME bidders and all. Our Prime Minister has given a call of Atmanirbhar India, Atmanirbhar Bharat. So that is like self-sufficient, make in India and use it. So especially after this pandemic. So there is a provision of highlighting those bidders, marking them, giving them a preferential treatment, giving them a percentage of advantage over L1 and all that. So the system takes care of all such requirements also. Other than that, one salient feature is the bidder performance. The moment you find few people who have participated, you open your tender, you find few bidders A, B, C, D. You can see the performance across other organizations so that it gives you an insight on how they have fared. Quality and cost base also, we have a lot of templates which we have brought in very recently. As I move further on, capacity building is one thing which I should say that no matter if your system is 5-year-old, it is just maturing, or it is 10-year-old, capacity building has to be in its place, and there should be multi-levels of it. One of our major success factor of that is that we have a local PMU in every province which takes care of the needs in that state language, local language. Then we have online training sessions for the last 4 years. Daily we conduct online training on various modules. We do customized classroom training and so on and so forth. So these continuous capacity building to the people who are participating, people who are doing the tenders, and even the policy makers gives a very good hold on how the system is to be leveraged. Every new feature functionality can be used by them. Few other things, being it is a massive system, we also have lot of huge infrastructure on which these are deployed and all. So we have auto alerts to see the server health, the system monitoring, resource allocation. These things are all done automatically, for which we get various AI-based alerts and initiatives, which I think we'll have it in the next part. It will be covered by Mr. Raghavan. And this is the dashboard. I would request you to visit this eprocure.gov.in/dashboard, which has a comprehensive list of KPIs and various other performance index. We have been continuously improving. Any suggestions from you would always be welcome for us to add on to that. This is one of that, which gives a complete cumulative figure of all the tenders done, value, bids received, procuring entities, etc. I think I would stop here. I hope I didn't overshoot my time, and I would hand over back to Joe so that we can take it forward. Thank you. Really thank ADB for giving this opportunity once again to be part of this session. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Usha. We'll now have Srinivasa to give his presentation on how they're looking at applying AI into the JIPNIC platform.
Okay, very good day to everybody across the world. I would be sharing a presentation on the AI part of it. Hope the presentation is visible. I think the presentation is visible.
Yeah.
Okay. First, I would like to thank ADB and all those who are present here for patient 10-15 minutes hearing. I have 20 slides in my slide. This session, I would like to take you on to how we have done a POC on the AI/ML and how useful it is with selective areas of this. Before going into the AI, there was a question from Pakistan. I want to use AI for e-procurement. How should I do it? The first thing that you want to do when you want to do AI, you need to have a basic data to do a modeling. So that modeling data is the basic thing. At least you need 3 to 6 months data for you to analyze build the model, then carry out the AI and ML part of it. As you know, AI is artificial intelligence and ML is machine learning. For these two, we have lots of tools available today. And what we have done is, we have taken up 50,000 records. We have a voluminous data starting from the year 2007 to till date. We have the data available. But what we restricted the data to 50,000 records to ensure that the model was built using a sample data, which we had it as 20,000 records. And this model data was applied onto from 2016 April to data in March 2019 to see how effectively this model matches to our requirement. So with this, we were able to find out that the best model which matches the requirement, actuals have been analyzed, and that was used for our subsequent usage. During this 15-20 minutes of discussion, I would focus on these 4 major areas. The first one is the bidder segmentation analysis. I will discuss each one of them. The second one is the analysis on pattern of association. The third one will be forecasting of volume of transactions. The fourth one is invalid names detection. Even though these are, some of them are very useful for day-to-day operations, some of them may be useful as and when some new registrations take place. I'll take you through each one of them. First one is bidder segmentation analysis. see why we need to do this bidder segmentation analysis. Say I register for computer works or computer purchases in a portal. Say I say that I am interested in all computer related activities. But actually when you see, I may be a bidder who might be participating for all tenders above say $10 million or $10,000. And I may not be interested in small value tenders. But when I register in the system, automatically alert goes to this even for a smaller value tender, which might not be useful to me. So we wanted to focus some of the users who will be actually interested in participating, and we don't want to miss anybody. So we did a bidder segmentation. I'll just take you to 2-3 slides to inform how it has been done. What we do is, these are the 4 things that we can do. We did on one aspect of it. Type of tenders they participate often. What type of tendering they participate, whether they participate for goods, works or tenders, or exclusively on the products on which they are participating, or the category of tenders they are participating, or the value. So these are the 4 categories which we have taken, but we have analyzed, focused more onto the value of tenders as the first thing. But other analysis has also been done, and we identified that the value of tenders was more meaningful and useful to us. What we do is, once we analyze and segment this, we send alerts to them on the predicting the participation of this. That is also done, so that we know that this bidder is likely to participate in this in a very high probability. That is why we have done this, and we have made this as a useful tool and integrated into the system. And also, we used some of the AI. There are lots of tools available as on date. Python gives you hundreds of tools. We use a clustering method to use this. Also, we use the K prototype clustering and elbow method. These 2 are the 2 tools which we have used from the libraries of Python, which we have used for this. This is an unsupervised learning algorithm, which means that you need not have to do anything. You just have to feed the data. Automatically, the system will be able to detect and inform the possible probability of each tender being participated by the users. And the elbow method, the next slide will tell you. This slide will tell you how to segregate these things. Say there are various values on which it has been value of tenders has been grouped. We've grouped into 10 different things. But what we did is, we have to identify how many groups should be there. To do that, we have carried out using the elbow method, where all the 10 were fitted in, and we have analyzed this using the elbow method. And wherever the curve occurs, say if you see this method 1 to 10, at the place of 5, in the elbow method, wherever the curve bends upwards, that's the point. So the point 5 is the place at which it bends. That's the elbow method's prediction. So we have taken 5, and these 5 bit clusters are formed as very low tender value, low tender value, medium tender value, high tender value, very high tender. So for identifying this, we have used the elbow method. After this K clustering is done. So this clustering is done into, if you see the image with before K means and after K means, it's just an illustration. If the bidders are randomly there, so in the other after K means, you see that it has been clearly, the red color, the one is high value tenders, green colored one is low value tenders. These are the medium value tenders, something like that. It has been clustered by the system. The bidders are classified now. As my earlier speaker Usha was telling, that we have these systems delivered through 40 instances across the country with the same code base. So we have analyzed this in 10 of these major instances, including the central procurement portal, as well as in the states or the provinces on which these tenders were running. We have taken a cluster of various things, including a small one and a larger one and a medium sized one. And this picture shows, if you can see this picture, you can see the high value tenders in this. The high value tenders are red colored, indicating the color red. And the low value tenders you can see as blue colored ones, and the medium value tenders as green color. So that this graph is generated using this method, and we are now able to see this. The observation I can give you onto this. The inferences from the earlier picture is that high value tenders are more in Tamil Nadu state and medium value tenders are very less in Tamil Nadu state. So now I can focus that whenever Tamil Nadu tenders are floated, if it is a high value tenders, I can find out these are the bidders who are likely to participate, and I can send mail alerts, SMS alerts automatically through the system. And this has been incorporated to the system. Very high value tenders are more in central government and Uttar Pradesh. Central government is a place where it will happen across the country, and Uttar Pradesh is a particular state where very high value tenders are. Very low value tenders are sporadic in all states. These are the observations which we have done, and we were able to focus and segment and do this based on the analysis that we've been doing it. So with this, the net result is that we were able to get better participation and better competition on the first bidder segmentation analysis. The second is analysis of pattern of association. See, this many of you might have seen earlier. You would have seen, say, when you go to a mart, you purchase a. I'll go to this. You go to a mart, you go and purchase bread. Immediately you can see that cheese will be near to it or ghee will be next to it, because actually these are the learnings that they have done, like Amazon, Flipkart, Walmart, all of them. If you go and purchase one thing now, what others have procured with this, that recommendation comes. This is more important because the human tendency is that once you do this, the next requirement will be this. So it automatically, you may have to analyze and segregate the bidders and associate them with the respective tenders so that you get a better participation and qualitative participation will be there. So this model is capable of automatically detecting and recommending tenders to the bidders based on the past behavior of the bidders. So I'll be able to identify this and I'll be able to send a push notification to all of them automatically. Second is, for using this, you need a good algorithm. We have used a priori algorithm, which was association used in mining of data to identify frequent item sets. We will not focus more onto it. You just have to understand that there are lots of algorithms available. As I said, we tried 2-3 algorithms. We tried to match it with the respective data that we had built over the time, and whichever matches our usage, this was used. The 3 important metrics of a priori are support, confidence, and lift. The next slide talks about what this support is, what is confidence level, and other. As I said, if you see this picture, you can see the pink colored ones, where in the confidence data, you can see that that shows how much is the association of the one item with the antecedents and the consequence. Like if I am purchasing, if I have participated in computer software, the chances of me working in, say, computer related other things, there are various items. I would take one example, computer hardware, where the association is 0.92381, which is closer to 1. That means the possibility of those who are participating in computer data processing will actually take part in computer hardware. This was done, the analysis was done with various data which have been received, and we have been able to identify. So whenever a tender of computer data processing is given and a computer hardware is given, we will be able to get a set of bidders and will be able to give them. This will also ensure that most people will be able to participate in a better way and you get a good competition. The third is volume of transactions. As was told by my earlier speaker, we have 4,000 tenders and in a day. And she was also telling that 2,300 simultaneous products were done. This was in a single portal. So if we have to cater to the requirements at the peak time, the volume of transactions should be very much known. As you know, the financial year end, the number of transactions will scale very high. So we used 2 methods for doing it. The first is a regression based analysis, which is a SARIMA method. See, it is the reason we used this, I will tell you. See, most of the time you might see that the tenders will be on a seasonal basis. Like if it is a rainy season, you'll have a specific type of tenders. If it is a year end, financial year end, you will have more number of tenders being. So we have used this pattern analysis method to identify what are all the things. There are 2 methods which you use. We used SARIMA as a forecasting analytics. Also, we used a neural based network, and we found that the neural based was more useful than this, and we were able to relate that. And this model, the idea of using the SARIMA is to understand in the basic method of regression analysis to find out how it fits, and the other method using this. This graph tells you how much the orange line, if the lines are clear to you, the orange line tells you the estimated value, and the actuals also has been done. And observed and forecast values you can see, and it matched our requirement to a greater extent. And based on this, we'll be able to scale up the servers, scale up the requirements, and other activities. So we have seen the three things. The fourth one is the invalid names. Normally you have in the recent times, you see that there are lots of bot-based systems where people randomly create and test your systems, whether it is giving me something. They enter names such as XYZ, DC, XY, some random names to identify whether they are correct. What we do is we have fed in the 2 lakh data which we have. There are challenges. The only challenge that we had is being a tendering portal. It is not only Indian users come. It will come as Indian, foreign names, everything will be there. So we have selected the model to reflect all of them. We have trained the model, and we were able to analyze using this, which are all the actual names and which are all the false names. So the usage of this will be very useful. Say you have a product category. We have categorized the product category to a greater extent, but still we ask them to enter the data. At that point of time, if invalid entry is entered, it automatically gives an alert. This, we used a model, long short-term memory, LSTM model parameter. This is the model which we used. I will not go deep into the models because it will be not be easier to understand. This example will tell you. Say if I type a name, it will say that this is the original name. If I type, say something, the fourth entry you can see, GJKJ, it says invalid name. Similarly, all verbs it will also categorize as. So this was the thing which was used for most for products, names, company names, etc. So these are the various methods. We have also analyzing other things, but these have been put into use and we were able to see the benefit out of it. Various other quantitative measures like number of users, number of corrigendums, all this can also be predicted. Invalid organization names, product category names, as these are also done, and we've been doing it across all the portals in this. These are the tools and libraries used. I will not go deeper into it. And for digital takeaways, one thing that I would like to indicate is that we have a vast experience in the portal for the last more than 13 years. We have completed almost 13 years we have completed with this journey. And we have a central public procurement portal. This is the URL for it. And the product details of JEPNIC, the complete details, including the international, we are ready to roll it out on international basis also if required. The details can be seen in jepnic.gov.in. And we have, as Usha was telling, we have a dashboard, exhaustive dashboard for all the 40 sites at one place. And this central public procurement portal also, we have all the tenders of the whole country in a single place assembled at a point. So people need not have to go anywhere. At a single point, you will be able to get the complete details of the whole India, whether it is JEPNIC or any other system in the country can be seen. I will be able to take any of your queries and answer it. And thanks once again to ADB and the patient listening team. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Srivanasa. As you may have noticed, there was an additional question thrown in there just with the scale and size of data that you may need to have in order to get some activity with AI tools and implementation. And so we'll take that up when we have our panel discussion after the next presentation. For now, we're going to have David from ADB, who is going to give us an update on what ADB is doing with the use of AI and search bots to have a better access to ADB's website.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is David from PPFD from ADB. I hope you can see my screen now? Because I'm not sure. I cannot see the screen right now. So
Your screen's coming through perfectly clear, David.
great, thank you. Okay. So today I will show you the PIA, which is PPFD's intelligent assistant. Actually, it's a chatbot for easy access to ADB's one of the ADB's important document, which is the project administration instructions. I will explain to everybody why we initiated this project, what the challenges and difficulties we are facing, and what was the solution we provided. Of course, that's the utilizing the utilizing artificial intelligence to provide a new way, a easier way for people to access the project administration instructions. And I will also share with you the features of a PIA and the plan to move forward. And in the end, if my connection is good, I will also do a live demo with I will also do a live demo. So the purpose of the PIA, so why we implement this project, from ADB, we have hundreds of policy documents. PAI, the project administration instructions, is just one of them. The documents is buried in all types of documents like Word file, PDF files. Well, we have operations manuals, we have staff instruction, guidance notes, many of them, and then they are located in different locations. Some of them you can find them from adb.org. Some of them you can find from SPD's website, PPFD's website. Anyway, it's so challenging to find the special instructions you are looking for. So this is why we thought about to utilize augmented search, together with the chatbot, to provide people a new interface to work with ADB's document, to search information from ADB's documents. Of course, for now, the chatbot only covers PAI. It's not covering the whole ADB documents yet, but that's the plan in the future. So for now, PA is just like a conversational chatbot, focuses on PAI the project administration instructions. It has questions, FAQs for COVID-19 related questions regarding consulting services. It also can answer questions on glossaries and acronyms. ADB has thousands of acronyms as well. So you can, later on we'll show you, you can also utilize PIA to find the acronyms that you are not familiar with, so you look like a guru. And of course, PIA is not perfect yet. It's just a newborn, So anyway, so for now, it has limited features, but I think in the future we will have a more enhancement. We will make PIA more useful to everybody. So of course, I would also like to get your advice, your suggestions on how we can move forward and make PIA more mature and better in the future. So now I'm gonna unshare my screen. Okay, and I will share with you I'll reshare my screen. So I will do the live demo. Just give me a second. Okay. Okay, so I hope everybody can see my screen again. So where to find the PIA, the chatbot? There are many ways, but I'm just showing you 2 ways here. The first is from Google. You can search PAI adb.org, or sometimes if you just search PAI ADB, it will also show you. You can also give you the result. So what it gives you is something like that. So you can click on the link, you will be able to see PIA. So the second way is that you go directly to adb.org, and from adb.org, you just type in PAI, which is the abbreviation for Project Administration Instructions. And then you will get into the next page, which would be the landing page for Project Administration Instructions. Then you click on the link. Either way, you will be landed on this homepage for Project Administration Instructions on adb.org. And initially, you will see PIA icon at the avatar at the lower right corner. Then you just click on it. You will see the main menu of this chatbot. And sometimes, like you probably think PIA is covering your window. You can just drag it to where you want it to appear, so you can do the search. So as you can see, the features here: COVID-19 related FAQs, PIA FAQs, the search documents, glossaries, acronym, feedback, and there's another one which opened in new tab. This one I would recommend just well, I prefer to use this one, so I recommend you to use this one as well, because it will open a bigger window for you. So it's easier for you to see the search results. From here, let's try the feature like COVID-19 FAQs. You can type your questions directly into the like the message box here, but it also has another feature which we call a guided search. So you just click which question you are interested in or you are concerned with. You just click until you reach the one you until you get the answer. So the answer is related to the insurance, and the answer is no. And you can also do the same thing for PIA FAQs. It does have the guided search as well, but as I said, you can just type in your message and see the answers. At any time, you can just click this home button. It will show the main menu again. Now let's try the search PIA documents. So let's see we want to search something like a PCR circulation. So as you can see on the screen, PIA did give us some results here, and it also highlighted the keywords like a PCR circulation, and then it also has the link to the actual documents. Assume you are interested in TCR. Well, this is the one kind of the PCR as well. So you just click on the link, this go to document. This will open the PDF file that for that specific section. So this one would be PA 6.08. So from here, you can dig into more details for TCR. For example, in the TCR, what should be included, what's the timing, when do you need to prepare the TCR. You can, for each search function, so apart from the glossary and the acronyms, you have this link to the PA documents. You can click on it and search for the details. And the next one is the glossary and acronyms. So this one, of course, we just searched for PCR. You can actually do it. Like PCR, it has the smart completion. When you type, it will give you the suggestions, like something like a unit, upper middle income countries. And sometimes when you are looking at a report, you are not familiar with the definition. You can also type in the word, and then you can find the definition for, okay, what is approval, what is the approval date, basically that's the definition. Same for commitment. That will avoid some confusions for you, like sometimes when you read the reports, what does that number really mean? So so that's the glossary and the definitions. And we also have a feedback form here, just in case PA doesn't give you the exact answer you have. You can give us your feedback through this this form. What you need to do is you provide your name, your email address, and then you need to select which area or you are concerned with, because inside the PAI, inside the project administration instructions, there are 6 sections, or you can call it the chapters, whichever you are interested or you have questions with. And then you just type in some questions like, when do I need to submit blah, 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 submit your PCR or TCR, or what's the requirements for withdrawal applications and other things. Then basically once you hit the sorry, I think something went wrong, maybe went wrong here. I clicked on the wrong button. So anyway, once you confirm, you will be you will be sending the emails to a email group. From there, we will take care of your question. Like PPFD expert will. I'll just make it out here. Let me try. Okay, so yeah, it should be okay. So I pick one area and I just type in some messages, and after review, I say I want to submit it, and then this one goes to a email group, and from there PPFD colleagues will look at your question and try to get back to you. So that's all that's all I want to show to you. Of course, how can you find me? You can find me from this feedback form. For all the feedbacks you submit, I will have access. So I'll have a look at your question, and of course we can further discuss if you have any concerns, suggestions, or advices to us. Thank you, Joe. Over to you. I'm happy to answer questions if there are any.
Hi, Roger, or David, thank you very much. As you may have noticed, I put a sweater on because it is -2 here in Ottawa, and I was starting to get cold since I have a furnace on a thermostat that shuts off at night. Is there a couple of questions that had come in? Some of them were more related to the use of the authentication factor, two-factor being applied in India. There's do we have to have some big data platform to support the effective use of AI? And so we'll let Usha just deal with the quickly on the two-factor authentication. They do apply digital tokens in India. So Usha, do you want to just?
Yeah, I would like to add that we have a law, I mean a guideline of Ministry of Finance, which according to which every EGP needs to be certified as per that guideline. It is a guideline of 2011, and any EGP system which is running in India needs to adhere to that. In that, one user PKI and a two-factor authentication. So any EGP system, anyway, we are doing an auction, a procurement, a reverse auction, anything we develop for an which comes under the umbrella of EGP needs to have a two-factor authentication to get a certification from the STQC body. In JEPNIC, we use user ID password and digital signature tokens. For open auction, because it is the general masses, general public who would be participating, as I said. So it may not be easy for a public, like I am going to buy one item or going to bid for a particular plot to buy a token. So we have kept email address and OTP, or two different OTPs as a two-factor.
Okay,
I hope it answers.
thank you, Usha. And then in relation to the big data requirements, Sri, do you want to provide an answer there?
Yeah, I'll answer that question, sir. Nowadays, we have data in various formats. Like it comes as a PDF file, it comes as a JPEG file, it comes in various other formats also. In the chats also, sometimes important data comes in. So big data, you cannot live without a big data after few years. So unless or otherwise we use the big data now, we will be thrown out of the system after a few years. So it is better to have a big data. And AI, it is not mandatory, but better to use this. This is what is our recommendation.
Okay, thank you. And the other, like, I noticed where you're looking at your AI application, you were focused more on the use and analytics of the bidders and what types of things they're bidding on. Is that also, like, if you're going to apply it and roll that out in JIPNIC, is that going to be individual states looking at their own environment, or is it always going to be taking a national view?
So the knowledge is consolidated at one point. We consolidate all the data across the states and apply it at various places, so that you have an overall idea of how the system works, as well as specific to that state, what are all the so province is also considered individually, and that is applied with respect to that province, which will give a better data, and our analysis will also be more focused also.
Yeah.
I'd like to add on to this. The model can be applied to individual instances, like individual province, to find out different trends. For example, in that slide itself, one of the slides, if you see a province like Meghalaya, you would see that most of the tender is concentrating on very high value tenders. Whereas if you see a province like Uttar Pradesh, it is almost equally distributed. You have online tenders for low value, medium value, as well as very high value. So that will definitely, the model will throw different insights into the different data sets, because how that particular data belongs. So it would be a good analysis for individual portals also. Thank
you. Yeah, because like each state basically has their own responsibility for the procurement in those states, and they may do it more for works than goods and so forth. Right. Now, at the other side, because you are looking primarily from a bidder activity, are you going to be extending that to have a look at the buyer activity and how they're doing their procurement? How many canceled bids, how many failed bids, how many rebids, whether it's failed because of bid security issues or other issues, so that they can get a better grasp as to what's going on?
Yeah, definitely. This is just, as Mr. David said about the bot, this is just a baby step. In fact, a very tiny baby step compared to the volume which we handle in India. Not only on JEPNIC, we have other systems also. We have the railway system, which is as big as JEPNIC. So this is a very baby step. And we have only picked up few sectors like bidder, because most of the procuring entities are very much concerned on bidder impact analysis, trends and all that. Slowly, we would be getting into a lot of other areas to improve the process, so that certain models may not work, it may not throw out a good, it may, indicators may not be good, but we have to fine tune it with the available data sets and move forward.
Yeah. And then because with the digital token requirement in India, and where you're looking at false names, now there should be very few false names. A digital token, I have to give authentic ID with my name on that identification in order to get a token. So what's the potential of false names being done as it relates to a bidder in the system?
Sir, the bidder name was used as during the course of time I was telling, the bidder name was used as one of the indicator. The main usage was in the product category. When people enter the product categories, they enter some values which may not be very relevant to that product category. I would have selected miscellaneous items. I would have entered something else which is not relevant to that at all. Or I would have selected food products and I would have been entering electrical item in that. To identify those, this was used. And as a byproduct, we tried names also. So I've, for the purpose of demo, I've used the names because it will be easier to understand and correlate. That's the reason that we have used it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know for anybody who's curious, because it's both foreign participants and local participants, and foreigners can get a digital token because I have a digital token for do access the JIPNIC system, and we do some for ADB projects, and so anybody can get a token. It was much more of a challenge this year with COVID, because part of the requirements is getting a lot of documents notarized and approved, both by a lawyer, by the Government of Canada, the High Commission of India, of which were closed. And then Canada Post was not mailing anything to most international countries either. So I couldn't even send original copies to it. So fortunately, my token provider, because it was not the first time I received a token, accepted previously notarized documents electronically to renew my token at the time, because COVID does present different challenges that create unexpectedly. Now, in your initial analysis, basically only applying it to the data from the JIPNIC applications, because I know in your national portal, you are collecting data from all JIPNIC and non-JIPNIC providers to send a transaction record to the national portal. Are they being incorporated to your analysis?
Yeah, sir. I would like to, before answering this question, I would like to tell one more thing, sir. Recently, due to COVID, the digital signature portion has also been made as automatic. You just have to click on a link and you'll have to be before the camera and you'll have to show your ID card. Those activities have also been recently taking place, so that you need not have to physically visit. You will be able to make your digital identity stronger and ensure that your participation is 100% taken care. There are no mistakes in it. That activity is also going on due to the COVID related activities. And answering to this question, we have, as of now, we have taken only this. We take only a few parameters from the other entities who are publishing this, and we redirect to their portal. So we may not be able to do a full-fledged analysis. We may be able to do a analysis to a shorter extent, not to the scale that we are doing in the JIPNIC platform. That is the reason that we've been doing a full-fledged thing, but we will be able to extend these experiences with others also if they are interested in having this.
Okay. And David, for you, like right now it's on the procedures instructions at ADB. Is that bot going to be extended to project documents and so forth as well?
Yeah, okay. So if I understand your question as well, anyway, I think from ADB, we have what we would try to enhance PIA to do more things. But if you are talking about the project documents that we could in the future to cover them in addition to policy papers and other documents, but that would take a lot of time. It depends on what will we do the next. For example, to integrate PIA with a transactional system, to enhance PIA to allow consultants to check the status of claims and other things. There are plans, there are items on the plate, but of course we will consider those things and put them into the to be list, and then we will do it one by one. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know, like even with the India and the ADB, because you are collecting a lot of transaction data on projects that are going on, just when countries file claims for the payments that under various projects, and no different than in India, because the bids are going out and the management of those bids afterwards are going on, because that's where the analytics and visualization as to the status of things is going to be like a great advantage the more you can apply artificial intelligence to help either predictive models or risk management models that would come into play. Is your thoughts on that?
For PIA, I think initially we would not get into the models for now, unless there's an interface with the modeling system, like for the big data and analytics and other things. But it's possible if there are systems which we can open it up. For example, if you want to understand ADB's operations, you can ask a question like how much resources ADB have been committed this year or as of now to fight the COVID-19 diseases, or how much resources we have put into the energy sector or the finance sector and other areas. You can ask those questions. If ever there are interfaces, of course, PIA would just be a pass through. It can get the answer for you and present to you and say, okay, this is the answer for your question. But yeah, we need to link it to other systems.
Okay, thank you. How about for Srinivasa, what's your thought on the transaction, further expanding the transactional data?
Can you please repeat the questions? It was break.
Your thought on like for all your, because you are because Jipnic's been around for years, so you have transactional, like even on bids that have been awarded and contracts completed. So the analysis of that activity and risk factors that might go in, like how would you perceive that or take advantage to help get a better insights?
Yes, sir. We are planning to do a spend analysis first on to this, so that the spending pattern can be easily observed, and subsequently, as rightly told by you, we also be using the award of contract details of how it has been done, who has taken up the work, where it has failed. All these will be can be analyzed also. As Usha was telling that it was a baby step that we have taken. We will have to go through these additional things have to be done. Parallelly, we have also done a chatbot also integration to this. Maybe we will be able to subsequently later we'll be able to show a demo. It's in the pilot stage. It's about to be launched. So people will be able to ask questions on the chatbot, like what David sir was showing it. The same way we will be able to ask, what is this multilateral bank tender? How do I do a foreign participate in this? All these questions can be asked, and the answers will be both typed as well as a voice-based reply will also be there. That has been being incorporated into the system.
Yeah, like if I'm a foreign bidder, what are my chances of winning?
That's likely to
Um, now, in that, like where the other one you were doing is like you were looking at number of bidders, like from high, low, and small value. Are you going to be trying to assess the patterns of bidders? Like, is it the same bidders on these same types of works projects or irrigation projects or road or buildings? Like, to try and identify patterns from state to state. Like, are bidders going outside of their states, or are they sticking to their states and so forth?
Okay, sir. We are already doing it within the portal during the evaluation. During the technical evaluation, you will be able to see this bidder has participated within the portal in various tenders. What are all the tenders he has participated, how much he has been awarded, and what is the current tender that he is participating is available within the portal. For the last 5-6 years is available. Subsequently, as informed by you, we should be able to do it across the portals so that this bidder for this work, where all he is actively involved and what are all the stages at which he is in, that can also be included. That is a good suggestion. We will incorporate that.
Okay. Well, I saw another Q&A pop in here. Is there use cases for BI, AI, and GIS in e-contract management, like evidence-based contract management? Now, I don't know if in India you have applied any use case for in contract management or taken a look at that yet? You do have a contract management modules within the system at this stage, or?
Usha ma'am will.
We do have a contract management module for works and services. However, you know, it's not very widely used, as widely used as the EGP. The reason behind that is you have to, for EGP, there is a mandate. The government mandate is that every tender should be online, every procurement should be online. At this stage, things should be visible. For contract management, there is no such law provisions other than, okay, the departmental rules and things. So that is why the adoption is a little not that encouraging. However, having said that, done this 0.6 million tenders, it would be in a, we can definitely develop a model for this, but the current usage in that, it needs to be increased. We need to sensitize people, we need to do more of capacity building to sensitize them on using show the advantage of having the contract management module used in the EGP system, so that they can derive the benefits.
Okay. And the other one I meant to ask you, Srinivasa, you're doing your modeling and getting started, because it is an initial task. And in the data, did you find any shortcomings in the data that you have in the system that you wish you could make some of your analytics better?
Earlier we had those shortcomings, sir. But over a period of time, whatever is the basic requirement that are required to be captured, we have fine-tuned and made this to a greater extent to meet the requirements. So initial stages, as rightly told by you, there were few shortcomings of data was not available. So we were able to build it up over a period of time, and we were able to force the bidders to make sure that these basic parameters are filled in, and we don't have such problems right now.
Yeah. Are you going to be looking at adding data elements, your tender detail information or bidder information that you can then over time gain greater insights?
Yeah, we've been doing that activity of adding specific information, like Usha was telling in her talk about MSME bidders. MSME is micro, small, medium enterprise bidders. So we used to capture that information over the period of years. We've been capturing this information. As soon as the bidder logs in, he is forced to enter this data, and the data set grows over a period of time. In similar ways, wherever the data is required. Maybe it may take 2 to 3 months because the participating bidders may not be regularly participating. So over a period of 3 months, you will have 90 to 95% of the data filled up, and we are able to meet the requirements of that the department wants. So that way we are able to capture all the data that is required. Hope this answers.
Because that is going to always be one thing. Like somebody may have a vision for what I want to get out of the system, but you also have to make sure the data that you're collecting is, otherwise it's going to be a challenge to answer a question, because AI, it's still just a tool and it needs the data to make it work properly. Because I know even in Canada where there's a number of projects that are ongoing at the moment, and different AI companies coming out with that one thing after another to say that's the greatest thing that's going to happen. But at the end of the day, it's still based on what data volume or data aspect. The data is not there. No, AI tools are not going to pull it together. Because I know like there's an Ottawa company doing stuff and it's taking transactions, matching it to your chart of accounts and all transactions, so it can identify patterns that's going on, which may be fraud that, you know, warrant investigation, or perhaps you can identify areas of policy to kind of make adjustments to procurement practices and guidelines that can improve, or if I want to get a different outcome or make a different impact, here's some things I should change, because now you have data and different ways of looking at it that can help push it along.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, we're getting close to our session ending time. I don't know, where are we at, Roger? Is it?
Hey, Joe, we still have a little bit more time. So, you know, I was thinking about one key question that we could perhaps ask everybody is in terms of, you know, when you think about all the experience that we have, that all of you have in terms of applying this technology, and through all the work and the case studies and all the different situations you've seen, I think one important question would be, if you could go back and do this again, what would you tell somebody who's in that earlier stage in terms of their preparation? What did you wish you would have known prior to going into this? And I'll let you facilitate that with the three panelists and take it across the table.
Okay, Sridasa, did you get that question? Well, like from where you're at now, what do you wish you would have had earlier knowledge, so that others that are listening in on this can take into account as they want to go forward? You have a comment there, Usha or Siddharasha?
Had we known this, you know, the journey, having known the journey, the path we have traversed, now if I have to do this all over again, the CGP, definitely there have been very strong learnings in terms of, you know, we never thought we would reach this big, this wide, this deep. We only thought that we are developing an EGP system to cater to few provinces of India. With time, since the public sectors came in, central government, that is, they came in, everyone had certain variations in the procedure. We have brought things in a configurable manner. If we start today, this would be very beautifully, you know, from the beginning itself, the design would be in such a way, like all of you know, for ADB, we say we'll create a separate organization chain and put all the tenders there and have this configuration. We'll try to bring it in such a way that the moment you say you want to float a tender, you say it's funded by ADB, then these things are taken care automatically. It need not be done by this. So these are the major learnings, like while designing itself. Then you have the knowledge transfer part. There was a point when we thought that once we have developed, we have done 5 years, we have done rigorous training, that's enough. Everyone in NIC used to ask, what more training is needed? You have already done the system for 5 years now. That doesn't happen. Every time, so much of, you know, people getting transferred. We have a lot of transfers in the government. People leave their office, move to a different assume different charge. They may not be into procurement, they may be into something else, and then somebody else comes in. So capacity building is to be there. There should be a body, an institute, which Ministry of Finance has now over the last couple of years designed an MDB program, which is very helpful. Procurement training should always be there. I think these two takeaways is major learnings for me from this having implemented.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Srinasa, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, one thing that I would like to add is we started implementing this as a individual instances. We don't have a common database for all the bidders at one place. We would like to have a complete database of one unique ID being given to it. We are also working on it. We would be able to soon come out with some blockchain based thing for this. We are still working on it, and maybe soon we will be having a unified bidder ID or something, so that we will be able to meet all the requirements that across portals can be easily met. And that will be a good source of information for many others, not only JEPNIC, for other systems also.
Yeah, because I know reviewing JIPNIC on behalf of ADB, I'm registered in a number of portals, and if I could not have to kind of redo the same thing over and over, it would make life a lot. I'm sure many of your bidders, although that's the one thing to try and get an analysis of, is from a national bidding kind of policy system, but everybody's operating as individual states. What's the growth of outside of their own state? Who's bidding on what? Like, and which sectors would see more national bidding versus local bidding? Because I know like works tends to be more local, goods more likely to travel from state to state. Did you get any perspective as to what's going on in India for that?
Yes, we can, with the available data set, we can find the national bidding versus province-wise bidding versus any other local bodies and all. But it is our dream. Many of our colleagues are also attending this session. It is our dream to have a central vendor database wherein the bidder has to register only in one place and then decide whichever instance he has to go, whichever tender or state or province which he has to move forward. But identification of the footprint of the bidder from where he belongs to can be derived from the current data set also. That is very much possible.
Okay. And David, how about you? Is there something that you had thought of at the start or wish you knew more now, or from the data within ADB, what could be done to make the bot searching more effective?
Okay. Yeah, I think at the beginning, we were thinking about the culture changes or people's appetite on adopting new things. I guess I'm happy to say we see more people and the tendency to adopt the new technologies here in ADB. So this is something we did not expect at the beginning. Of course, when we initiate this project, we were keeping our users' need in mind. We know there were challenges for our ADB clients when they were searching for ADB's documents to find out how to do business with ADB. They face challenges. Even for ADB staff, when we are trying to find out some specific instructions on doing certain things, it's quite challenging for us as well. So that's the second thing I would like to see, keep the customer's need in mind. And the third thing I want to share would be the support we need from everybody. So like for even this pilot peer, the chatbot, we have got support from not just our department, the people from the staff from our department, the management, and other colleagues. We also have support from ITD, from from DOC as well. So we have the business users support, and we have the technical people's support. So I think we really need to well, I would want to emphasize on the culture change, and when we think about the culture change, we should not think just from the negative side. I think there are many people like changes, not for some people. The thinking is like people are resistant to change. So I think that's what I want to share with you as well. Thank you. Back to you, Joe.
Okay, there was another question that just came in as well as share the experience on how to carry out mandatory certification of specialists in the field of public procurement. Now that's kind of slightly outside of the artificial intelligence, but in India, are you having a certification program for your officers in support of JIPNIC or other of the procurement systems?
Yes, sir. It's not JIPNIC per se. It is procurement policy related. It is an MDB program. It's called a management development program, a five-day or a 6 days residential, in which drafting of the contracts and policy related financial aspects, contract management, as well as the electronic aspect. Everything is covered, and there is a certification after.
Okay. I think thank you very much. And I know other countries, they do have certification programs. Bangladesh has a very strong education process in place for all of their officers participating in their electronic system. I think we're just about running out of our session. Just like one of the big things, just as it relates to intelligence, is because many of the EGP systems, you know, they've always been focused on the individual transaction itself, like letting bidders submit bids and then publishing the awards. And there's like many other parts behind that. But over decades, like many countries are collecting a lot of data. And so AI is going to give you a way to analyze and get a new perspective on the activity that's going on in your systems and help give you better insights. And from better insights, will be new to improve the system and the procurement system you're trying to support. So I'd like to thank you very much for joining us this afternoon, and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks to the entire team of ADB.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. All right, so this officially concludes session 4. We will now take a short break, and we will return in just under 15 minutes to begin session 5, which will be focused on transparency and accountability in public spending. So please take this time to respond to any emails, get a quick little meal or whatever it is you might need so that we can have your full attention for this important session that's coming up. Do keep the Zoom channel open. We will have some videos from some of our special partners, as well as a timer to let you know how much time we have left in our short break. Again, this break is only going to be for 15 minutes. This is shorter than yesterday's breaks. So just in case you were already used to those 30 minutes. Alrighty, thank you so much, everyone, and we will see you shortly.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
The COVID-19 pandemic has escalated dramatically. No part of Asia and the Pacific is immune from its severe impact on life, society, and economy. The human costs are significant and rising every day at an alarming rate. Health systems are stretched thin in many countries. the various travel restrictions, quarantines, community lockdowns, and closures to contain the outbreak have far-reaching social and economic impacts. Many households face the bleak prospects of being pushed back into poverty. ADB estimates global economic losses of between $2 trillion and $4.1 trillion. To address the immediate needs of our developing member countries in mitigating COVID-19, ADB announced a $6.5 billion initial package on March the 18th. But the scope and scale of the crisis make it imperative for ADB to expand its support. Therefore, today, we launched a more comprehensive support package that is tripled in volume to $20 billion. To deliver the new package in a much faster, more tailored, and impactful manner, ADB has also decided to further streamline our business processes, widen the scope of our support, and make the terms and conditions of our lending much more flexible. At the same time, through this package, ADB will further strengthen its support to the private sector. We will quickly provide short-term working capital to companies, get the trade and supply chains moving again, and help people get back to work. I believe this $20 billion package will empower governments and businesses in Asia and Pacific to tackle the severe macroeconomic fallout, address the urgent needs of the poor, the sick, and the vulnerable, and blaze a path to strong recovery. I am profoundly grateful for the hard work and dedication of my own staff in making all this happen, as well as the continued support of ADB's Board of Directors. Throughout our interventions, we continue to collaborate closely with peer international organizations, including the IMF, the World Bank Group, the World Health Organization, UNICEF, and other UN agencies, and the global community. ADB remains a steadfast and long-term partner for developing member countries in Asia and the Pacific. We will continue to provide vital support as they defeat COVID-19 and return their economy to a path of growth and prosperity. Difficult times lie ahead, but I want to remind you that all pandemics, even extraordinary ones, had an end in human history. So, let us stay safe, stay strong, and stay connected to overcome this unprecedented challenge together. Thank you very much for working with us.
COVID-19 has had a profound impact on lives, health, and economies across Asia and the Pacific. By mid-September, we at ADB have already committed $11.2 billion to address the pandemic in our developing member countries, part of a $20 billion package announced in April. $8.2 billion is helping support government budgets in 19 countries to mitigate the impacts of COVID-19, with a focus on boosting safety nets for the jobless and helping the poor and vulnerable groups, including women and children, while $1.2 billion is supporting other projects. About $123 million is helping private companies supply medicines and essential services. ADB also committed $1.6 billion for trade finance, supply chain finance, and microfinance programs. Technical assistance of $95.5 million is being used by 41 countries to address their most urgent needs, including the procurement of personal protective equipment and diagnostic and medical equipment. Frontline health workers are also receiving training, while hospitals and laboratories are being strengthened. Rapid grants of $50 million are addressing immediate humanitarian and health emergency expenses in 26 countries. We are closely coordinating activities with partners, including other international financial institutions, bilateral institutions, and the UN system. Building on our extensive knowledge work, we have been delivering up-to-date assessments of the pandemic's economic impact, providing policy advice and other resources to tackle many pressing development challenges. In our home base of Manila, ADB's management joined in to deliver critical food supplies to struggling households. As circumstances evolve, we at ADB will continue to meet the needs of our developing members and work together to building back better for a long-lasting recovery.
From the very outset of the COVID-19 outbreak, we at the Asian Development Bank have been quick and flexible in our response to meet our members' needs. Our $20 billion assistance package for those worst affected is helping Asia and the Pacific save lives and ensure economies rebound as swiftly as possible. We are delivering grants for emergency food programs and medical needs like personal protective equipment, test kits, and laboratories. And we're providing our developing members much-needed budget support on affordable terms. Our ongoing economic analysis is enabling policymakers to better plan for recovery. By providing trade and supply chain finance, we are delivering crucial support for economic growth. Wage support schemes for low-wage workers are helping smaller firms stay in business and prevent job losses. Our cash transfer schemes and other social protection measures target poor and vulnerable groups and households, as well as women and girls. Coordination with international financial institutions, the WHO and UN agencies, and development organizations help ensure that we are effective and efficient. And we remain committed to supporting our members on their path to sustainable development through projects and programs that go beyond the COVID-19 pandemic. We are doing what we have always done throughout our history spanning over 50 years. We are on the side of our developing members in their moment of need to help them pave the way for a better, brighter future.
We follow a rigorous and competitive process in choosing suppliers that can provide quality products and services. We have contracted with companies from around the world, including medium-sized companies from developing member countries. We've also contracted partner organizations that can provide logistics and quality control.